What's up, guys? It's Josh here, and today I am back with another Kansas City Chiefs type video. And today I wanted to talk about Mecole Hardman. So, a big just talking point this year, big storyline was the kind of a video went off on my phone there for a second. But this year, one of the big storylines was the non-progression of Mecole Hardman. I mean, he just hasn't been that impressive. In fact, he's been pretty much disappointing this year, and many people are wondering, hey, what's going on with this, second year top 100 guy? He's not even getting snaps on the offense. He's not even, he's not that good. It's because when you look at his the same players that came from his draft class, they're outperforming him pretty handily. I'm gonna give you a few names. So first of all, let me tell you Mecole's stats. So Mecole Hardman this year has not this year, but through his time in the NFL, so through the first two seasons, essentially, 1,073 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. He's had about 500 receiving yards each year, which is okay. I mean, that's definitely something, yeah. But it's not anything super impressive. But DK Metcalf, someone that we took before Mecole Hardman, has 2,182 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns in his short career. A.J. Brown, who went about 5 picks before Mecole Hardman. And see, whenever I bring up Mecole Hardman, I like to say we took him over A.J. Brown because I truly believe that if the Chiefs wanted to move up just 5 more spots to get A.J. Brown, they could have. If they played I think they truly played their cards for Mecole Hardman because that's who they liked at the time. But I think if they did play their cards for A.J. Brown, they could have easily gotten him if they wanted to. But anyways, A.J. Brown has 1,975 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns so far in his career. And then Deebo Samuel, who went a lot earlier but still kind of in that same range, he has 1,193 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. And mind you that Deebo Samuel has only played 7 games this year due to injury, and he still has sort of a leg up on Hardman in receiving yards. He's short on touchdowns, but you get my point. Honestly, those touchdown numbers, I'm not even sure if those are accurate. I might have miscalculated that, but that's okay. You get my point either way. And then one of my big concerns about Mecole is he's not that involved with the offense. Like I said, he still has about 500 receiving yards this year and a handful of touchdowns, right? But I can't remember a game this season where you're like, man, Mecole had a great game today. Because I think the last one he really made a huge impact was the first Broncos game. I think he had about I want to say somewhere around 70 yards or something like that. No touchdowns, but he had a few big catches in the game. But besides that, there just hasn't been that big Mecole Hardman game this year. And part of the reason I think he's not able to step up is because at the time that the Chiefs drafted him, they drafted him in preparation to replace Tyreek Hill. Because if you remember last year when Tyreek Hill was out for about those 4 games and Mecole Hardman had to take over that role, he was fantastic. He had several big touchdowns, big catches, and I think that's just because he's playing behind Tyreek, someone who he's never going to be ahead of on the depth chart at that position, and it's just kind of to Mecole's disadvantage. But at the same time, then you can kind of blame Brett Veach. Why would you draft someone that you didn't truly need? Because if you thought Tyreek Hill was, if you thought there was still a chance that Tyreek Hill could come back, then maybe you should have drafted a little bit better. You don't necessarily need a speed guy there. Although I do like the Chiefs keeping up with the speed thing. I do like that a lot. But anyways, one of my big concerns with Hardman this year is he's just kind of been a non-factor on the offense, like I've been talking about. And it seems like whenever they give him opportunities, he finds a way to screw up. Like in the Miami Dolphins game, he hadn't got a touch the entire game, and then they give him a handoff, and he gets a pretty nice gain, and then he fumbles the ball away. We can't have that. The coaching staff already doesn't trust you. You're already behind DeMarcus Robinson and Sammy Watkins on the depth chart. You can't afford to be screwing up like that. And then it just appears that the team, in a desperation attempt to get him involved, just keeps sticking him at returner over and over and over and over again, and it's not working. He's been a terrible returner. He does not know when to take a fair catch. He does not know when to let it bounce for whatever reason. It's really frustrating. You guys know what I'm talking about. You'll be watching the game and you're like, Mecole, man, what are you doing? But let me give you some numbers for kick and punt return. I wrote them down right here. So on kick returns this year, Hardman is averaging 20.4 yards per kick return, which is just short of a touchback. So more often than not, we're better off taking a touchback instead of Mecole taking it out. And then he also had a fumble this year on punt returns. And on punt returns, he's even worse, like atrocious. 7.3 yards per return. He only has one return over 20-plus yards and only one return over 40-plus yards. And that actually came against the Miami Dolphins a couple weeks ago. If you take away that big touchdown return that he had, he averages closer to 5 yards per punt return, which is just bad. Like, it's really disappointing. And I really hope that Mecole can take a step forward next year because, I feel like a couple years ago, when we first had Hardman and Watkins was still, not that Watkins is leaving or anything. I don't want to get into that, but Watkins was here, Tyreek was here, all those guys. Most would have said the Chiefs, have a top receiving core in the league, if not the top receiving core in the league. Now, when you look at it, I think most fans would be pretty upset to learn that Mecole becomes their number 2 wide receiver next year because he just hasn't shown enough. I will cut Hardman a little slack because he was originally, I think, a cornerback coming out of high school. So he's still learning the receiver position. He only played receiver for 2 years at Georgia. So I guess you kind of have to give him the benefit of the doubt there because, he's still learning a lot of these route combinations and, developing his hands and stuff like that. But at the same time, you got to look into that stuff before you draft someone like that. I mean, that's the risk you take when you draft someone who doesn't really know the position. But Mecole, he struggles to get off the press. He doesn't have a very expanded route tree. And he's not attacking the coverages like I think he should be. That being said, there has been several times this year where Mecole has been wide open and Mahomes just hasn't went to him. But that's another thing is it's kind of hard to build trust with a receiver when the receiver keeps dropping it. Mecole leads the wide receiver room in drops this year. Several times he's dropped big plays, and a couple notable ones are against the Saints as of recently. He had a really big one that he dropped, and he had one in the Falcons game that he dropped that would have went for a first down. I mean, you can't have that. You can't have that. And it's really becoming an indictment on Veach, that whole pick right there, because there were several good players that were taken after Mecole. Not that I would rather have them, but if he doesn't pan out, that's a top 100 pick essentially wasted. I mean, for a gadget player. Like, I don't think gadget player is necessarily an insult. Like, gadget players are a good thing to have for your offense, but I just don't know if you can justify taking one in the top 100. Mecole just hasn't shown enough to lead me to believe that he's any more than a gadget player. I just really, really hope that next year Mecole can step up because I'm not seeing it, man. I'm really not. But let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to make a quick video on that. Just because I'm just disappointed in Hardman this year. Oh, one more thing, actually. I also find it funny because I've been arguing with Packers fans a lot about who the MVP should be and that sort of thing, and arguing about the weapons, the whole weapons argument and stuff. Packers fans always love to say, Chiefs have Mecole Hardman. They point to Mecole Hardman as one of Mahomes' fantastic weapons. Mecole Hardman is not that good, guys. Like, I've been watching this team for a while. Mecole Hardman is not the weapon you're making him out to be, but that's just me. So let me know what you guys think, if you agree, disagree, whatever. But that's all I wanted to talk about for today. I just wanted to get everyone's thoughts. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out www.showmefootball.com for more. Peace, guys.